Okay, today we're going to be talking about dividing radicals. Now, the key here with radicals is you cannot have a radical number in your denominator. It won't work. If you try plugging that in your calculator, which I think some of you have tried before, you'll get an error, right? So you cannot have a radical in your denominator. So what we're going to have to do today is what we call rationalize. But let's broach that when we get to it. First things first is you're going to look at your problem, and if there's something easy you can do that will get rid of the rational in your denominator, do that first. Then you don't have to worry about rationalizing it. So for example, on this one, I've got square root of 2 over 5 times the square root of 25. Square root of 25 can simplify, right? That would become 5. 5 times 5 is 25. This is just going to become the square root of 2 over 25. Because 5 times 5 is 25. And that's as simple as you can get it, so that's your answer. Okay? But looking at this problem here, it is not it's not an easy one to break down. So let's look at it. Let's break down this bottom as much as we can. There's nothing I can take out of the top. But let's see, 48. What's something I could take out of 48 that would square root? So could I take out a 16? Nope. 48 divided by 2 is 24. 48 divided by 3 is, oh yeah, I can. 16, 3. Okay. So 16, so I could take out a 4, and I'll change it to 3 square root of 15 over. Square root of 16 is 4, so 3 times 4 is 12. 12 square root of 3. Now, I cannot have that radical in the denominator. So what I do to rationalize it, if you remember, if I take any radical, multiply by itself, it would undo it, right? So if I were to do square root of 3 times square root of 3, it would just become 3. Because that's like 3 squared. It would be 9, which square root of 9 is 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the radical in the denominator, so square root of 3, and I'm going to multiply it by itself. But because I multiplied the denominator by that, in order for this to remain an equal fraction, I have to multiply the top by the square root of 3. When I do that, these cancel out and become just 3 times 12, which is 36. Okay? And then 3 times 15, 3 times 15 is 45. So I've got 3 times 45 now. Now, can I simplify this top at all? So 45, can I take out anything that would be a square root? 45 divided by 2, no. By 3 is 15, obviously no. Divided by 4, no. Divided by 5, ooh, there we go. 9. So I can take out a 9, and it becomes a square root of, or it would become 3 times 3, which is 9, times the square root of 5. So 9 times square root of 5 all over 36. Now, what can I do that will simplify that bottom? Well, I can take out my, let's see, this is the same as 3 times 3, right? So let's rewrite this with our prime factor form. 3 times 3 times square root of 5. And then let's rewrite 36. 36 is 3 times 12, and 12 is 3 times 4, so 3 times 3 times 4. Looking at that, I can cancel out the 2 3's, and I'm left with the square root of 5 over 4. That's as simple as you can get it. Okay, so it's a little bit of work, but it's not too tough. Again, it's just coming down to breaking things down to their factors again at the end. Let's look at some of these. So this one, there's nothing I can do to break down at the beginning, right? So what I have to do is just start off by rationalize it. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 13. So the top, I would need to multiply to both terms because it says two terms. Okay, the bottom, the square roots are going to cancel out. I'm going to be left with 13 times 2, which is 26. So I'm going to get 26 on the bottom. 3 times the square root of 13 is 3 to the square root of 13. And then 5 times 13 is 65. So plus 3 square root of 65 all over 26. Now, is there anything I can cancel out there? 3 doesn't go into 26. These are not the same root, so I can't combine them. So that's as simple as I can get it. That's my answer. That actually wasn't too bad. Okay, let's look at another one. Let's look at number, or this, whatever we have here. So again, it's already at its most basic root there. So again, I just got to rationalize it. So I got to times it by square root of 3. And again, that's going to go to both of these. That I'm going to multiply here. So when I multiply by the square root of 3, it just becomes 3. Same here. And then 3 times 5 is 15. So, and then multiply it by the 4 as well. So I get 4 times square root of 3. And then that becomes 3 and 15. So plus 15 all over 3. Now, there's no common multiple in all those, so again, that's as far as I can go. So that is how you divide radicals. Again, the important part is the rationalizing part. We have to multiply, get the radical out of the denominator.